said Franz. "The Corsican bandits that were among the crew of his vessel? Why, really, the thing seems to me simple enough. Nobody knows better than yourself that the bandits of Corsica are not rogues or thieves, but purely and simply fugitives, driven by some sinister motive from their native town or village, and that their fellowship involves no disgrace or stigma. For my own part, I protest that, should I ever go to Corsica, my first visit, ere even I presented myself to the mayor or prefect, should be to the bandits of Columba, if I could only manage to find them. For on my conscience, they are a race of men I admire greatly. Still, persisted Franz, I suppose that you will allow that such men as Vampa and his band are regular villains, who have no other motive than plunder when they seize your person. How do you explain the influence the Count evidently possessed over those ruffians? My good friend, as in all probability, I own my present safety to that influence. It would ill become me to search too closely into its source. Therefore, instead of condemning him for his intimacy with outlaws, you must give me leave to excuse any little irregularity there may be in such a connection, not altogether for preserving my life, for my own idea was that it was never in much danger, but certainly for saving me 4,000 piastres, which, being translated, means neither more nor less than 24,000 livres of our money, a sum at which, most assuredly, I should never have been estimated in France, proving most indisputably, added Albert with a laugh, that no prophet is honored in his own country. Talking of countries, replied Franz, of what country is the Count? What is his native tongue? Whence does he derive his immense fortune? And what were those events of his early life, a life as marvelous as unknown, that have tinctured his succeeding years with so dark and gloomy a misanthropy? Certainly these are questions that, in your place, I should like to have answered. I'm trying to think of a time when I was so indebted to someone that it was easier to overlook their flaws. Certainly it happens, I think, to greater and lesser degrees over one's lifetime. I've certainly never been kidnapped and then rescued. I guess I can only think of it in very abstract terms where you encounter a new friend who is a very different dynamic, perhaps what feels a little healthier, more supporting than perhaps the group of people that you've surrounded yourself with consistently throughout your life, and you kind of see a new way, and those people in your life see the new person coming in and criticize them. This isn't really holding true, though. I guess I'm trying to find the point at which Albert is deluding himself versus, and willingly and selectively deciding what he sees of Dante versus what the reality is. And does such a huge event like a kidnapping distort one's view? Now, Albert does not seem even a little bit put out by this whole kidnapping thing. And as we read last chapter, Albert was sound asleep in his cell when they found him. I'm going to take it for surface value that he is not stressed out by this. Unlike me, who would be asleep in my cell only because at times of peak stress, for some reason, I just immediately fall asleep. I don't know why. If I have a particularly stressful day at work, I almost have to take an involuntary nap later in the day. Maybe I should see my physician about that. Whatever the case, Albert is kind of digging his heels in and saying, look, if you were me, which clearly Albert and Franz are very different people, but if you were me and in my position, I wouldn't go counting my eggs too much. Is that the right aphorism to use here? Something about a gift horse, maybe? Albert is completely contented to see Dante for what is being presented to him. And Franz is the only one seeing Dante not for what he is, but suspecting that he isn't what he's presenting. I have also had incidents like that, and again, it's hard to pinpoint an exact example, but you ever run into someone in your life and you're just like someone new, and you can't quite put your finger on why you're a little apprehensive or put off by them. I've had a number of people in my life where I'm just like, something feels a little phony about you. And, that's not to cast judgment on anyone. Lord knows whenever I'm meeting new people, I'm masking like crazy. So people respond to different social situations in different ways. So just going so far as to say that just because they seem off doesn't mean it's for nefarious purposes. Well, we are in the penultimate episode of this short chapter, believe it or not. And again, I will point you to the end of the episode where I will put all the updated Patreon stuff. Suffice it to say, I just want to take a moment to thank you all for being here. A little behind the scenes glimpse of the podcast. There's been some turmoil with our network. Not crazy stuff. Just a lot of life changes that have happened, and we've been navigating how to continue to provide the quality content, or let me just put content that you've come to expect out of all of our shows. And it's been a little uncertain on how to continue to approach the daily podcasts. I mean, that's the good thing about a daily podcast is you just do it every day and don't look back and it figures itself out, sort of. I mean, there is a lot of thought process that goes into this thing, but, you know, like, there's not time to overthink it. There's always a new episode that needs to go out. So the fact that you keep showing up here chapter after chapter means a lot to me, and honestly makes whatever administrative decisions need to happen that much easier to make. So thank you. Let's finish out chapter 38 tomorrow, and then guess what? We have an even shorter chapter 39 coming up right after it. So join me here tomorrow. Until then, okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.